Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Farming Simulator 22 news update. So earlier I did a video about 1.2 dropping and what was included. This is a follow-up video because we're going to explore now that we have the update what is definitely included, the features that have been announced that are included, and I have to say there are some hidden gems in this update that I don't think have been given much publicity, and quite frankly, some of them are substantial quality of life updates. But before that, this video is brought to you by Charlie Farmer. Thank you for being a farm baron. So spread out here before me are the 16 implements and vehicles that are a part of the 1.2 content update. They include quite an array of various things, from the Flegel pull-behind animal trailer. We have a pair of new ABI water trailers. We have a snowplow, a front packer, a new big baler that also allows you to add silage additive, a new crone trailer, our second Landini tractor, quite a nice looking tractor indeed. We have a front mower and rear mower combination, and I have to say this is now the king of all rear mowers. This thing has a massive mowing width. We have a really cool slurry spreading trike vehicle here. And then we move into the trio of case Steigers. We have the road track. We have the classic quad track. And then the wheeled Steiger. Now let's go and take a look at all of these in the shop and all of the various configuration options that are available. And then we'll talk about some of the other quality of life improvements. Some of them have been announced. Some of them have not been announced. But we're going to look at as many as I can quite honestly remember today. And if there's any that I don't mention, go ahead and put them down in the comments below so that everybody else can benefit. Now let's start off with the great Landini on medium tractors. We're going to scroll on over here to the Landini Series 7 Robo 6. This tractor is 190 horsepower base, has manual and power shift transmission, 50 kilometer max speed, 8.1 ton weight, $150,000. And if we take a look here, we can get Trelleborg in standard, wheel weights, wide tires, wide with weights, rear twins, twins all around, narrow tires. And boy, those are some respectable narrow tires. Remember back when we had little pencil thin narrow tires? And we had the Michelin in standard, wheel weights, wide tires, wide with weights, rear twins, twins all around, Michelin narrows, Continental standard, standard with wheel weights, wide tires, wide with weights, rear twins, twins all around, and narrow tires. Midas standard, standard with wheel weights, rear twins, twins all around. BKT standard, standard with weights, wide tires, wide with weights, rear twins, twins all around. We can get it with a front loader attachment. Sorry. Vertestein standard, wheel weights, wide tires, wide with weights, rear twins, twins all around, and narrows. Nokian in the new cool, aggressive standard configuration. A second standard configuration. Communal. And back to Trelleborg. So that is a ton of tire options. Front loader, we can get the Quickie and Hauer front loader attachers. We can get the 7-200 Robo 6, which is the 190 horsepower variant. the 7210 Robo 6, which is 210 horsepower, the 230, which is 225 horsepower, and then back to the 200. Main color, we can get the blue, or we can go with metallic blue. Rim color, we can have standard or black. And a license plate. This is one of the new unannounced features of the update. License plates are remembered now. So if I change this, okay, let's change it to that. 146 ACS, okay? The next vehicle we go to configure will have 146 ACS as its license plate. That is definitely a quality of life improvement, especially if you like to put plates on all your things and you like them all to be the same for any reason. Maybe you've got a little abbreviated for your name. Now you don't even have to do it. It is auto saved. Now let's move on to the next tractor, which is up here in the large tractors category. We're going to scroll on over till we get to the Rotrack AFS Connect series from Case IH. This is a 468 horsepower tractor with power shift transmission, 40 kilometer max speed, and 19.1 ton weight. We have our awesome 3D tracks on this thing, and we can get it in a Rotrack 420, which is 468 horsepower, a 470, which is 524 horsepower, 500, which is 558 horsepower, and again, we have our plate. Now, I remembered my old farm use plate, which quite frankly, I am fine with because I like that plate. But at any rate, what you're seeing is it's remembering your plate selection. Now, we have the Quadtrack AFS Connect series. This has the much wider tracks, more of what we are used to seeing as far as a tracked tractor. 524 horsepower, power shift transmission once again, 40 kilometers per hour, 20.8 ton weight. So this one is a bit heavier. We get the 470 again, the 500, the 540, the 580, the 620 at 692 horsepower, and then back to the 470. Continue to scroll on over here, and then we get to the Steiger AFS Connect series. This is the wheeled variant of those tractors. We have the 524 horsepower, power shift transmission, 21.3 ton weight, so even heavier than the other two tractors. Trelleborg in twins with weights. Michelin twins with weights. Continental twins with weights. Midas twins and with weights. BKT twins with weights. Vandersteen twins and twins with weights. We have the 470, 500, 540, 580, 620 engine options. And again, it is remembering that farm use plate that I have started to use. Let's look at another quality of life improvement that has not been announced. If you go to lease, we now have a thorough breakdown on what is included and how is the lease cost broken out. So to lease this large $402,000 tractor, it's an $8,040 base cost, $40,020 per day, and $8,442 per operating hour, for a total initial lease cost of $20,502. So that is also a new quality of life update. If we come down here to miscellaneous, we have the Vervette. I'm pretty sure I pronounced it completely different in the news announcement video, but Google Translate fails to remember for my head. At any rate, 530 horsepower, variable transmission, 40 kilometers max weight. This thing will store 20,000 metric or 20 cubic metric meters of liquid. Yeah, I'm not a metric person. 18.4 tons, 20 kilometers per hour. We have Trelleborg in standard, Michelin standard, Then we have design standard, or we could get launch edition. And again, we have our farm use plate. Like I said, it's remembering our plates. Now, let's jump down here to tools. Under trailers, we scroll on over here till we land into the Krone GX520 trailer. This thing can be purchased for $119,000, holds 52 cubic meters worth of product, weighs 11.5 tons, and if you use the fill weight option, will hold 22.5 tons of product. We have Trelleborg standard wide tires. We have Michelin standard or wide tires. We have BKT in standard or wide. Sorry, BKT standard. Verderstein standard or wide. Get a cover, yes or no. And this thing has a kind of an interesting feature I want to show you here. And that is that for whatever reason, you can enable... Oh, listen to this. Landini. Now, if we take a look here, refill trailer. So we can fill it with seed, right? If we wanted to, we could just do that. That's not what I want to show you. We have hip side sliding floor backwards or sliding floor forwards. We can turn on the sliding floor without having to... There. So the floor is moving backwards. You can see that the seam is coming toward us. The wall is coming toward us, right? Change it to U. And now it is going completely the opposite direction. Also adjust the tongue height, but the whole ability to open and close the back door, and the ability to slide the floor without like hitting I to unload. Very interesting. Very interesting feature of this particular trailer. Let's move on to the next piece of machinery. That is going to be down here under slurry tanks. We'll slide on over here and we have the Bomec track pack. This is worthy of being attached to the Hydra Trike 5x5. No configuration options on this whatsoever. 18-meter working width, 20 kilometers per hour working speed, and you do have the option of configuring your plates. We come on over here to mowers. We have the new GXF 3605P front mower, 95 horsepower requirement, 3.5 meter working width, and the GXT 13005P rear mower. Now this thing is expensive at $149,500, but it has a 12.3 meter working width, massive working width, and we can get where it drops from the rear, or we can add the GXT 1305P collector So then we can have it windrow to the middle, windrow to the left, windrow to the right, side drops one way, side drops another way, completely and totally configurable. So that is something super cool. If we go on to the next option, balers, we're going to scroll on over here until we get to the Krone Big Pack 1290 HD PVC, $155,000. This thing does have the ability to make different size bales, 180 centimeters to 240 centimeter bales. And we can get it with silage additive, yes or no. Now, silage additive is supposed to enhance the yield on our silage production. Typically, to this point, silage additive has only been available on forage trailers and forage harvesters. Now, this is the very first baler that we're going to be able to add the silage tank to. Continuing on, we have under animals, we have the two ABI water trailers. $3,000 will buy you a water trailer that holds 2,082 liters of water. We get different rim color options here. And again, it is remembering our farm use plates. Now, interesting enough, it has these pipes and what looks like a spray head, but this does not have any sort of spray function to it, even though it does have what looks like a pump. We look at the larger ABI 1600, it will hold 6,056 liters of product, weighs 1 ton. And again, we have what looks like kind of a spray bar here with spray nozzles, but this does not have any sort of spray function to it, at least not now. Maybe someone will come out with a new function for this. Maybe we could use it to kind of spot spray herbicide. Hard to tell. Now, if we continue on to animal transport, we have the NOAA TTW 140 animal trailer. No real configuration options on this one. We move on, and then we come to our snowblower right here. No configuration options on this one. And then finally, we have our Amazon T-Pack U. This is a front packer. In theory, you would have this attached to your tractor, and it would basically run between your front wheels and aid in seed bed compaction as you are basically seeding your field. There's one more item that I did indeed miss here under animals. There's one more item, and that is the Kuhn Primor 15,070 basically straw blower. And there are no configurations options on this. It does take 2 bales of capacity, so you can load this thing up and blow all the straw you might want. And that, fair gentlemen, is all of the new vehicles and implements that are a part of this new update. Now let's talk about some more quality of life improvements that weren't necessarily announced. And for that, we're going to go to the escape menu. And we're going to come up here to the mini map. First off, shout out to Lagweasel in the Discord for letting me know about this one almost right before I started putting this video together. There is a new console command for us PC players that we can run, and it will expose the collectible locations on the map. So this is a collectible, that is a collectible, that is a collectible. There are all of the collectibles. There's one underneath of there. And apparently we can also see them on the mini-map. Like there's one up on top of that arch. Now you may say to yourself, how do I do that? Well, you have to enable Dev Console mode. Pull up Dev Console mode, and you show GS Collectibles, show all. And boom, they're going to appear on your mini-map and on your main map. So if you've been hunting around for collectibles and you can't seem to find all of them, there's 100 on this map. There are, I believe, 20 on Haute-Belle-Lorraine and 12 on Erlengrat. Well, this command can help you locate the missing ones so you can get the complete bonus. But wait, there's a whole lot more to this update. Let's go back. Zoom on out. And we are going to move to another filter. And that is, we're going to go and take a look at soil composition, because this filter page has changed, and it has changed a lot. First off, weeds used to be yes or no. You either had weeds or you didn't have weeds. Now we have multiple stages of weeds shown here. First up, I do have colorblind mode enabled, so that is why you're seeing these colors are different. Okay. Second off, you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different weed stages being displayed here. So we have young weeds to mature weeds. Let's just jump down here to this tractor, and we will see yet another quality of life improvement, and that is the field info screen. Now tells us we have large weeds down here in this particular field. Let's move on to another field. This field has some different types of weeds. Here we have weed large herbicide. So it's telling us that we have large weeds, and it is recommending that we use herbicide to remove these weeds. We move over here. We have weed partial, and it's telling us to use a hoe to get rid of these weeds. We move over here to another field. Once again, we have large weeds. It says to use herbicide to get rid of them. Here we have weeds that have already been killed, and more weeds that have already been killed. But take a look at the field info screen. It still has even more wonderful info. We've seen the needs line before. We've seen needs plowing before. Now we see this field needs rolling. So we can also see that in its current state, this portion of the field has a 35% yield bonus. It has no fertilization. We come down here to where we have the full weeds. We have a 15% yield bonus. See, this one says we need lime. And one more field we're going to take a look at. This one we are at a 78% yield bonus. It says we have large weeds. Since this field is ready to harvest, we do not have any suggestions on how to get rid of those weeds because, well, the crop is ready to harvest. Let's go back. We have our traditional 2-stage fertilization. We have our lime, yes or no. We have our needs rolling. This is new. So we have a needs rolling overlay. You can see we have needs rolling here. We have small weeds. It's suggesting we use a hoe to get rid of these weeds. We have a 65% yield bonus. This field is 55% fertilized. Now we are at 73% yield bonus. And then we have withered oats over there. Any rate, we also have a new mulched layer. So we can see fields that are mulched. Right now I only have one demo area down here, and it is paved over, so that one doesn't count. And we have a stones layer. So we can now see which fields have stones that need to be collected and which fields do not have stones that need collected. So this field clearly has stones. This is a field of non-rolling stones, and we can see that from our overlay. So we have a new stones overlay, a new mulched and needs rolling overlay, as well as a new enhanced weed overlay to our soil composition screen. But wait, there's a whole lot more. Let's jump back over here. And let's talk about our animals, because there's some quality of life improvements in our animal screens now also. If you recall, I did a video related to horses a while back, and horses show that they reproduce. But really, we didn't have any information on how long it takes for horses to reproduce. And I had fast forwarded through 13 months, saw no sign that our horses were reproducing or were trying to reproduce. So I basically just called it there and said, it looks like they're going to reproduce, but I just don't know how much far forward I need to move in order to see any reproduction. Well, that mystery is no more, because we can see that our gestation period for horses is 11 months, and we can see that our puberty portion of the horses is 22 months. So what that means is horses older than 22 months will start the reproduction period, and it will take 11 months after that before you will get some ponies. So since all the horses you can buy are 0 months old, you have to own a horse or own horses for 22 months, and then they will start the reproduction cycle. 11 months later, you will get new baby horses. And this is extended to all of the animals. So let's go over here and take a look at our sheep. And you can see how the sheep are all set up here. We have 8 months to puberty, 5-month gestation. So we know that if we buy an 8-month-old sheep, we will start having our reproductive cycle, in essence, begin immediately once they have reached a certain health level, and it will take 5 months. If we buy a brand new sheep, 0 months old, if you will, it's going to take 8 months of growth before they're going to be able to start to reproduce, and then it's going to take 5 months for you to get any offspring off of those sheep. Chickens. 2 months gestation and 6 months on their puberty level. Cows. We have our... We'll just go to another screen to get the cow information. Sorry. Pigs. We have a puberty level of 6 months and a gestation period of 4 months on our pigs. So for cows, we have 18 months to puberty and then a 10-month-old gestation period. Now, one of my main gripes with Elm Creek, the map, when it first released, was we had several possible player farms that were pretty much inundated with static buildings that we couldn't do anything with. And with this update, we can now at least get rid of the buildings. It would be ideal if we could also make use of the buildings, but hey, at least we can wipe the slate clean and start afresh, and this is how you do it. First off, you have to own the land. So we do indeed own the land. We're going to go to our build mode, and we're going to scroll on around, and we're going to hit demolish, and click, and presto, whammo, all of the static buildings are now gone from the farm. This is going to work for the farm in all four corners of the map. So we were down here in the southwest, down here in the southeast. We can also do the same thing. In the northeast, we can do the same thing. And in the northwest, we can do the same thing. Now, since we're talking about building out your own farm, we have a few new placeables also available to us, and that is one, we have the old barn. Let's go ahead and put that down right here. We also have, for farmhouse, we have a trailer. Now, I have one farmhouse already. We cannot place a second farmhouse down. I am going to hit a new button called Enabling Free Placement Mode, which was, for me, V. Placing objects in free mode can cause issues with the functionality of the objects or vehicles, but allows for more freedom of placements. This is your responsibility to flatten the terrain. Use at your own risk. So even with that set, we can't place a second farmhouse, but what we can do is we can now place things theoretically inside of things. You know, I mean, if you wanted a farmhouse trailer inside of a barn, well, if the shoe fits, then why not, right? Let's go get rid of our first farmhouse and see if we can't make this happen. So now we are farmhouse free. Let's do something silly, because we have enabled free place mode. Toggle free place mode off and on. I have done it. I have done it. I have placed my farmhouse inside of a barn. Well, you know, I've always worried that the trailer roof might leak, because the last trailer I owned is this place called Ravenport. It had a terrible leaking roof. Can never fix it. Now I don't have to worry about it because my farmhouse has 2 roofs. I don't have to worry about it ever again. So that is free placement mode. You still have to own the land. It doesn't make placing buildings free. It allows you to place buildings and overlap them should you so wish. See? Overlaps with another object. V, toggle free mode off. Now it's on. Now I can, if I want, place a building and a building and a building. Just like that. Because I can. So I will. Now my house is guaranteed to be dry, because I have 3 roofs over my head. So I'm being a little silly with this, but it allows you great customization and flexibility for building out your farm. And if you ever had buildings that you just couldn't quite place where you wanted, now you can turn that free mode on, get your buildings just a wee little closer, and place them exactly where you wanted. Maybe you're like me and you had a terrible time running your grapes or olives. Well, Now we can go into build mode, and once again, production. Orchards. Grapes. And we can place our first row, which allows us to place it at any angle we want. So we kind of have to be extra careful with running our first row to make sure that it is straight. Okay. So now that we have our first row, it's a little crooked, but we get a nice snap. And I can't do it. All I can do is make it straight. I can't not make it straight. And going forward, you'll see there. So now we are too far away. Now we're locked. It's because I am standing here. I'm like, why is this not working? This demonstration is horrible. Well, I am the problem of the demonstration. Like that. I mean, we can just slam these out. Super, super fast. If you realize that you can change the direction, then they are kind of too far away. Below that, we can just build out our orchard. And it is snapping, and we are perfect width apart. Now, it says that they have basically improved repair costs. So here I've got a Rigitrack. I got this used. It's got 34 hours on it. You can see the maintenance bar down there. The maintenance is pretty low on it. If we come here to the shop, we go to repair. You can see the condition. It's only $1,029 to fully repair this particular tractor. It's still kind of expensive to repaint it, but repairing your tractors are now significantly cheaper than they were before. Now, there's a few more that I want to talk about. We're not going to go through the entire list of changes and improvements because, well, I already read through those in the announcement video, but I do want to show you a couple other things. One is here under fuel usage. So before we would have low and normal. In previous game versions, we had a mod that increased fuel usage. Well, now we can just enable high fuel usage. If you feel the game just sips on fuel and you want to increase the fuel usage, now you can come here to the game settings and enable high fuel usage. But wait, there's more. So you may have noticed in your save game these new question marks, and they're scattered all over the place. Well, if you come up to these, you say open help menu, and they're going to go here to spending money. There's other ones over here on the main farm. They're going to have you, well, learn about other things, if you will. Let's just jump in a tractor here. So there's one up here, for example, that's going to talk to you about transportation. There's one down here that's going to talk about arable farming, etc. There's one way over here. Oh my gosh, they're just literally everywhere. Talking about lime. Guess what? There's another one. Well, maybe you don't want to see them in your game anymore. It's pretty simple. Just come here to general settings, trigger info on, turn it off. Now they're gone. So we've already seen there is at least one new key binding in the game, and that is when you are in build mode and you are placing something, and you can basically turn on V the ability to free place. Well, that has changed your key bindings. And that is why when we updated to 1.2, we lost our custom key bindings. It reverted back to the original kind of default or delivered key bindings. Is because they added that particular new keybind. So if you were frustrated, if you were angry as to why on earth they messed up your key bindings, well, they did it because they added a new key binding, and in order to add a new key binding, they kind of had to replace your existing key bind with something that they knew, and therefore they completely overwrote your key bindings. That is not typically going to happen in every software update. It was just because they added a new function that had a keybind, which is to enable or disable free place mode. So guys, that's where I'm going to call this particular video. I think we've rambled on enough, shown enough announced features and unannounced features that are really going to bring quite a bit of quality of life improvement to the game. It's been a little rough of a road getting here, but I think now that we're here, it's going to be a lot nicer of a game. I know there's some problems with pallets. I know there's some other problems. If you are having issues with the update, please report them to Giants. They can't fix things they don't necessarily know about. So be a part of the solution. Report things that you are aware about. And until next time, happy farming.